All right, let's tackle a classic maths problem, turning one of those tricky recurring decimals into a nice, clean fraction. But here's the twist. We're not just going to find the answer. We're going to follow the official Edexcel mark scheme, step by step, to see exactly how you secure every single mark.
So here's the problem we're going to solve together. The question asks us to prove that this decimal, 0.462626, and so on forever, can be written as a fraction. And that word prove is key. It's not just about the final answer, it's about showing your work in a clear, logical way.
Okay, let's get into it. Step 1 is all about the setup. This is the very first thing an examiner wants to see, and it's how we bag that first easy mark.
So, the very first thing you've got to do is give this decimal a name. We just say, let x equal 0.462626. By doing this, we've turned a number into a simple algebraic equation, and now we can actually start to work with it.
Next up, we start creating multiples of our x. We multiply it by 10, then by 100, then by 1,000. And as we do this, pay attention to what happens after the decimal point. Our goal here is to find two of these new equations where the repeating part is exactly the same.
And get this, according to the actual mark scheme, just by doing that, just for finding these multiples and showing you know what you're looking for, you've already earned your first method mark, or M1. Simple as that.
All right, now for the really clever part. This is kind of the aha moment of the whole thing. This is where we get to do a little mathematical magic and make that infinite decimal just disappear.
So what's the game plan? It's actually pretty straightforward. We need to find two of those multiples we just made where the string of digits after the decimal point is a perfect match. Once we've got them, we can subtract one from the other, and that entire recurring mess just cancels itself out.
And if we look back at our list, boom, we've got a perfect match. See how for both 1000x and 10x, the bit after the decimal is 0.626262. Those are the two we're going to use.
So, let's do it. We subtract the smaller equation from the larger one. On the left side, we have 1000x minus 10x. And on the right, we do the same with the numbers. Now watch what happens to that repeating decimal.
And just like that, look what happens. All that messy, infinite decimal stuff just vanishes, leaving us with this beautiful, clean equation. 990x equals 458. So much easier to deal with, right?
And that right there, that's your second method mark. Plain and simple. The mark scheme says it's for a correct subtraction that leads to a terminating decimal, which is just a fancy way of saying a number that doesn't go on forever. You've shown you know the core trick. Okay, we're almost there. We've done the hard part. We have our simple equation, and now we just need to solve it and present the answer properly to complete our proof and grab that final mark.
So how do we solve for x? Easy. We just divide both sides by 990. And there we have it. We've found our fraction. But we're not quite done just yet. There's one last little step. You always want to simplify your fraction if you can. It's just good practice. In this case, both numbers on the top and bottom are even, so we can divide them both by 2. And that gives us our final, fully simplified answer, 22.9 over 495.
And this is super important. That final C1, or communication mark, isn't for the answer itself. It's for showing the whole journey, a fully correct statement with no mistakes. You've clearly communicated your proof from start to finish.
But wait, there's more. You know, the cool thing about math is there's often more than one way to get to the right answer. And the official mark scheme actually recognizes another perfectly good method for this. So instead of using 1000x and 10x, you could have also tried subtracting the original x from 100x. Now the decimal parts don't line up perfectly, but the subtraction still works to get rid of the infinite bit, leaving you with 99x equals 45.8. You might be thinking, well, what about that 45.8? No problem. To get rid of that decimal, just multiply both sides of the equation by 10, and look where we end up. 990x equals 408. It's the exact same equation we got with the first method. Pretty cool, huh?
So let's just boil it all down. Getting full marks here really comes down to 3 clear steps. 1, find the right multiples. 2, do a correct subtraction to get rid of the repeating decimal. And 3, show all your working clearly all the way to that final simplified fraction.
And really, that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's a great reminder that in math, especially at this level, how you get to the answer, the clarity of your proof, is just as important, if not more important, than the answer itself.